What's up, everyone? Alex here. Happy New Year! We've finally reached over 9,000 subscribers. Before we continue, I just want to say thank you to everyone who subscribed to the channel. I wouldn't be here without your help and support. I like celebrating big subscriber milestones such as these because it not only represents the thousands of people who enjoy watching the various videos on the channel, but is also representative of new possibilities of working with more game developers and publishers. Many game makers utilize subscriber and follower numbers as a way of deciding who they want to work with, and the higher the number, the more doors open. And I'm not just talking about the big guys either. Lastly, I know some of you thought that I had more subscribers before you hit subscribe, and to that, I am infinitely flattered. Backlog Battle has been my labor of love since I started posting videos on YouTube in June 2017, and this team of one will make sure that 2021 will not only entertain, inform, and excite you, but also surprise you as well. And it's because of this that I will be very aggressive with my subscriber goal for this year: 20,000 subscribers. To get there is easy. Just like, comment, and share my videos on social media, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram while you're at it. In a limited time post on Twitter and the community tab, I asked community members to post questions that they'd like answered in this video. Unfortunately, while I managed to compile everyone's questions, I forgot to include the commenters' names, and for that, I sincerely apologize. That said, I loved all the questions you posted, and I'll answer all of them right now. What got you into gaming? What was your first console? I know many people say this, but video games were truly an integral part of my daily life. When I was young, my grandma ran an arcade near a school, which got shut down because the local government thought that she was preying on their allowances. Because of this, the arcade machines were sent off to various relatives, with one cocktail table cabinet containing Galaga eventually winding up in our household. So while it's not actually a console, this cabinet was my very first video game machine that I played religiously. If you want more details beyond what I shared, I highly recommend checking out my origin story found in the card shown and in the description of this video. What do you do for a living? You're looking at it. I am the sole writer, video editor, voice talent, game capture artist, motion graphics designer, sound director, researcher, social media guru, PR specialist, graphic artist, and community manager of Backlog Battle. I wear a lot of hats. So if you've enjoyed my videos and want to support me and the channel, please consider joining our party on my Patreon at patreon.com/backlogbattle. You'll see what I mean when you get there. Besides gaming, do you have any other hobbies? I do. I love listening to audiobooks, watching movies, anime, and TV shows. Having hobbies outside of games fuels my inspiration, so indulging in these different things is very important to me. I also love chatting with friends on the phone or Discord voice chat, whatever platform they're on. What are some of your favorite movies, anime, or otherwise? We can be here all day if I listed all of them, so I'll try to make this brief but meaningful. As far as movies go, generally speaking, I find enjoyment in watching Disney animation, Pixar, and Marvel films. Outside of that, I have a deep appreciation for directors such as Baz Luhrmann, who directed Romeo and Juliet and The Great Gatsby, Christopher Nolan, who's known for the 2000 Batman series and Inception, David Fincher, who's known for The Social Network, Mike Flanagan, known for The Haunting of Hill House and Dr. Sleep, and Robert Rodriguez, who's known for the El Mariachi trilogy and Battle Angel Alita. Of that list, I find that I am inspired a ton by Robert Rodriguez. I still remember watching his DVD extras talking about how to be a one-man film crew and admired that his movies were all written, edited, and directed by him. Favorite animes currently include Aggretsuko, High Score Girl, One Piece, Food Wars, Haikyuu, Great Teacher Onizuka, Azumanga Daioh, Chobits, XTV, Rurouni Kenshin, up until the end of the Legend of Kyoto arc. One Punch Man, Assassination Classroom, From Up on Poppy Hill, Slam Dunk, Hajime no Ippo, Golden Boy, and many, many more. How do you achieve, in terms of programs, apps, and hardware, this level of polish in all your videos? The high production quality of my videos have absolutely nothing to do with what programs, hardware, or apps I use. Case in point, up until June of 2020, I had been using a 2009 MacBook Air with 2 GB of RAM to edit videos. And yet all of the videos released up until that point still meet the same level of quality as the videos released afterwards. My advice to any aspiring content creators out there is this: don't think that buying new things will all of a sudden improve the quality of your work. Big companies do that sort of thing, throwing money at a problem instead of learning how to work with what they have, and look at how often they don't achieve their goals. And yes, I recognize that by telling you not to buy things, that I might be endangering my chances of being sponsored by said hardware manufacturers. But it's the truth, and I'm not gonna lie about that. Work smarter, not harder, and certainly not costlier, and you'll create something that's uniquely yours. If you could have a crossover between any two games, what would they be? It still hasn't happened yet, but someday I know it will. Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. Officially, that is. None of these bootlegs that were released a long time ago. With more and more remakes and remasters happening, which games from the PS1 era would you like to see given this treatment? The PS1 era was the height of Squaresoft's popularity, so this list will mostly consist of games from their software lineup. With Saga Frontier being remastered and having cut content put back in, this leaves me with one other Squaresoft game in that era that was, for all intents and purposes, had a disc 2 that didn't feel quite fleshed out: Xenogears. I'll readily admit that I haven't played the game since it was first released, but since Square Enix is going back and adding things back into games that were cut, I figured why not spend the time to actually make Xenogears the way it was supposed to. This might pose a challenge, of course, due to its developers having moved on, but it's kind of fun to think of the impossible, to paraphrase a quote from Walt Disney. Other games that I'd like to see remade or remastered are the original Parasite Eve, Brave Fencer Musashi, Legend of Mana, and Saga Frontier 2. What game series would you want to be in and why? I would love to be included in a beat-em-up like Final Fight or Scott Pilgrim, or a Musou game like Persona 5 Strikers. While I love turn-based RPGs, action games were my gateway into games, so I think it'd be fitting if I showed up in one, either as background or a playable character. How do you balance your job with the other facets of life? I personally dislike bringing up cliché quotes, but since I've been making content on YouTube since 2017, I can honestly say that the following quote is true. If you love what you do, it doesn't feel like work at all. Because I have complete control over how my channel is run, I can shape and mold it around my lifestyle. That being said, I also try to practice strict discipline when it comes to work hours. Much like everyone else, I have a 40-hour workweek that I abide by. From time to time, I may engage in social media outside of those hours, but it's usually a quick post or retweet. Being able to step away from work and taking breaks is part of why I feel that my videos get better each and every time, as I'm forcing myself to be hungry for a creative outlet that I'm only able to engage in during work hours. But how do you determine work hours if your job is reviewing games, you might ask? Simple. Playing games for review isn't the work. The act of making a video, and everything else around it, to convey my thoughts and feelings about a game I'm playing, is the work. Having a clear mental model of where my boundaries of work and play are has helped me cope with some of the stresses of being a content creator, which also allows me to be present for my family and friends. As a side note, I want to recommend checking out this interview I did with Stand Tall Theater. I go into deeper detail about my work-life balance and creative process in this interview. You can find it in the card shown in the description of this video. Do you play more than one RPG at the same time, or do you focus on one game and move on to the next? I believe that playing video games is akin to enjoying a 3-course meal, and so when I play a huge game like an RPG, for example, I tend to play one exclusively, especially if it's for review. However, there are times that I need a break from these games, and I'll randomly choose a game from my library to install and play for a brief period, with no intention of beating them, as a palate cleanser. This allows me to reset and get back to enjoying the game that I'm focusing on, as well as open up different perspectives that I might not have been aware of before. In my 20 plus years of reviewing games in various capacities, I've found that many game reviewers can get tunnel vision when it comes to reviewing games, especially ones who do so in rapid, short succession. So being able to step away, then reconnect with games is extremely crucial for my creative process. But generally speaking, I play one big game exclusively, then move on to the next, which are usually games for review. This question was actually asked by 2 different people, so I'll be combining both into one. What's the most underrated games or franchises that you love and think deserves more attention, and why? Before I answer your question, I do think that Japanese games are in a good, healthy spot. A lot of them are discovering Steam as a legitimate platform to have their games on, and it's quickly helping them reach a global audience that they've never had before. But I do think that, as a whole, our community needs to be more open to possibilities of play rather than preoccupying ourselves with telling people how they should play games. That being said, while I still enjoy playing games with serious storylines, there needs to be more recognition for games that don't do those sorts of things, and realizing that there are a wide array of experiences out there to cater to different moods. Games such as Tetris Effect and Coffee Talk are excellent examples of games of what I'm talking about. They're chill games that don't get mentioned simply because A, it's using a familiar mechanic in Tetris' case, or B, it's not quick-paced and actiony, as in Coffee Talk. These games are the most underrated for me, and I hope that I can help shed some more light on these games in the months ahead. Of the games you played in 2020, which did you personally enjoy the most? Looking back at 2020, I can honestly say that I've enjoyed 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Odin Sphere Leifthrazir, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2, Coffee Talk, and Murder by Numbers the most. How many videos have you created and never published? And what were the individual reasons for these? I have written plenty of scripts that never got made into videos, as well as videos that never got released. There's even videos I published that I've unpublished. Trying to list every individual reason would take up an entire video by itself. What I will say though is that one way or another, these videos aren't available anymore because they don't reflect the values that I want Backlog Battle to represent. If you're curious as to whether or not I'd ever release some of these in the future, know that I've shared at least one script for an unmade video on my Patreon as of this video's release, and I do intend on finding and posting these, should I find more of them, on that platform. What are your top 3 games of all time? This list changes on a regular basis, thanks to conversations with peers and my community. So, for now, here's my current list, in no particular order. Persona 4 Golden, 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim, and Death Stranding. Was there a time where you would like to have thrown everything you've done on this channel and wanted to change direction completely? Not that I recall. From the very beginning, I've always wanted to share the passion and love I have with games in a different way than what others are doing. I love experimenting and trying out many things to find a variety of ways to express this, and I'll continue to do so for as long as I am able. What direction do you want the channel to go in this year? While I cover many JRPGs, niche, and indie titles that are mostly from Japan, I want to start covering some Western games, with emphasis on some. The spirit of Backlog Battle is rooted in the discovery of games to play, together, and I've seen many Western games that have a lot of the qualities that exist in the Japanese games I've enjoyed, so I would like to bridge that gap this year. However, I want to be clear and state that I will never abandon my coverage of Japanese games. This is a region that I have a long-lasting admiration for, and it would be irresponsible of me to not talk about them at all. Besides, I don't even think that's possible. It's in my blood. I was born in Asia. Apart from that, I have plenty of things planned that I hope you'll look forward to in 2021, in addition to the reviews I know you'll enjoy watching. I'll be sharing more of these details on my Patreon soon. Which games are you excited for in 2021? Great question. This is actually one of the videos I'm currently working on as soon as this gets released, so keep your eyes peeled. It might be coming sooner than you think. Thanks to everyone who's asked these and similar questions, and thank you very much for helping Backlog Battle reach over 9,000 subscribers. Here's hoping that we get to 20,000 this year. Thanks for watching, and see you online.